are not going to stand for these people, making it seem like our movement and a group of people standing up for human life are a terrorist group. They just put us out of Hennepin County. They locked all the doors and wouldn't let us hold our press conference. We have to stand out in the cold and the rain as hurting, impacted families. But Mike Freeman could go in there and say whatever he wants to say. This is not right, the way they treat us out here in the community that they're supposed to be standing up for. We pay the taxes for this building. So right is right and wrong is wrong. We will now have a young man named Soren Stevenson, who was brutally shot and lost his eye here in the city of Minneapolis after a peaceful protest for George Floyd. He was shot in the eye, lost his entire eye by the same SWAT team that just now killed Amir Locke. We will call for Soren Stevenson. Thank you.
Just a month ago, I settled with the city on my lawsuit against them for taking my eye. And at that time I said that there is no law or any morality that an officer on the Minneapolis Police Department has to respect. And that was proven when they killed Amir Locke, because Mark Hanneman didn't pull the trigger when they shot me. That was Benjamin Bauer. But Mark Hanneman was standing right next to him when it happened. And Mark Hanneman saw, I can do that, and I can do better, and nothing's going to happen to me. So now that Benjamin Bauer and Mark Hanneman are still running around this city committing crimes against people, nothing's going to happen to them. And they both can tell you from personal experience, I can do anything I want to you, and nothing's going to happen to me. That's what Minneapolis police officers are faced with today, and we wonder why more people get killed. We wonder why more people get beat, why more people get shot. It's because nothing happens over and over again. No discipline. And now the city just spent 2 years saying that they didn't do to me what they did to me. They didn't do it. It didn't happen. But then, right when my lawyer team was about to win, getting the body cam footage released, getting the reports released, they want to pay me $2.4 million. So $2.4 million for my silence. They are guilty, they are guilty, they are guilty, and this city is covering it up. This city is not making this place safer. This city is making it more dangerous. They're causing more crimes against the people, and then they're going to be surprised when another uprising happens. I'm not going to be surprised. I don't think the people at home should be surprised either.
We will now call forward the president of Communities United Against Police Brutality, Michelle Gross.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michelle Gross, and I'm the president of the organization Communities United Against Police Brutality, an all-volunteer organization in our 22nd year. Our organization is utterly disgusted and outraged at the decision, the joint decision by Hennepin County Prosecutor Mike Freeman and State Attorney General Keith Ellison not to bring charges against Mark Hanneman and the other officers involved in the botched no-knock warrant raid on the home that Amir Locke was staying in. We are utterly disgusted about this. Although the police initially lied, Mr. Locke was never, ever a suspect in this matter. Further, he posed no dangers whatsoever to the police department at any point. He was a registered gun owner. He had his gun near his side. He never pointed it at an officer. They gave him no notice or warning. They kicked the sofa to wake him up and never even said, drop the weapon. He never posed a danger to those officers. And yet, Mike Freeman and Keith Ellison announced their decision based on the specious explanation that they would not be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Hanneman had committed a crime in violation of Minnesota law. That same consideration never came into play when they prosecuted Jaleel Stallings, who was nearly beat to death, shot at, and so forth by the Minneapolis police, Even though they had body camera footage that showed he was the victim and not the perpetrator, they never said, oh, well, I don't think we can get a guilty verdict. They proceeded to take this man all the way to trial, and thankfully a jury saw better. But you can see that they don't apply that same standard to situations when it is the police who are murdering someone. This outcome affirms a statute that CUAPB has proposed, a piece of legislation that's at the legislature now, to require an independent prosecutorial and investigative unit specifically for police critical incidents. It's axiomatic that the same system that relies on law enforcement officers to do their main work cannot investigate and prosecute those same officers when they engage in misconduct. We have to have an independent prosecutory and investigatory body outside of all law enforcement, including the Attorney General's office. Sadly, the community will undoubtedly bear the burden of trying to give some measure of justice to the family of Amir Locke. It certainly will never be enough. But we'll be the ones paying for it as taxpayers. And Mark Hanneman and the rest of the crew, they'll just go on like life is normal. They'll keep going to work every day. They'll keep harming more people in the community, as they already have Mr. Locke, as well as Soren Stevenson and many others. And it'll just be the Locke family and the community that pays that price. What we know from past history is that those officers will face not one whit of discipline, because all of the officers who cost us money in this city never face any discipline unless they're prosecuted. This is a sad situation. It's a sickening situation. We're outraged by it, and we're finished with it. I'm telling you now, City of Minneapolis, you better get on the damn stick. We're tired of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I want to also add, before I call up the next speaker, that I did talk to Amir Locke's father earlier today, and he was just so hurt that he could not even come out to speak with any media. His response was, Tashira, I cannot speak to any media today. I have to process the fact that the people that killed my son will actually just walk as if he was nothing, as if he was a piece of trash. So this is a response from Amir Locke's family that they simply just cannot at the moment talk to any media because they have to process all of this. I will now call forward the president of the Minnesota Justice Coalition, Jonathan McCollin. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan McClellan. I'm president of the Minnesota Justice Coalition. We are part of a collective of organizations that work with families and community to draft and advance legislation and other policy initiatives at the Capitol here in St. Paul and in Washington, D.C. It has been 63 days since Amir Locke was murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department. He was asleep on a couch and killed. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and an independent investigator determined the evidence did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a crime had been committed. I was under the impression that that job should have been the job for a jury, proving a criminal case beyond a reasonable doubt. I have to ask these elected officials, did you watch the same video? It was announced that this Friday, Minneapolis police can no longer apply for or execute unannounced search warrants, even when assisting other law enforcement agencies. Minneapolis officers serving a warrant must announce their presence and then wait 20 seconds during the daytime or 30 seconds at night before entering, unless under extenuant circumstances. Mayor Frey campaigned on issues saying that Minneapolis was no longer doing no-knock warrants. This appears to be too little, too late. Just last week, we had a press conference about the Ethics Practices Board at the City of Minneapolis investigating ethical violations related to the mayor's handling of this case. We found out that over 1,300 ethics complaints from Minneapolis citizens were dismissed on March 16th. Where is the change in that? At the end of the day, transparency, accountability, and justice are what we demand. We cannot do that when our community members are being snuffed out by people sworn to protect and serve. We cannot do that when the broken system fails to see the humanity in people with black and brown skin or who are poor. This also goes to legislators as well, because there's blood on their hands. Because when they had the chance to do something, they didn't. We are not asking for uncommon things. We are asking for common sense. If you believe law enforcement, you would think nothing is wrong, and to them, this is business as usual. We shouldn't have to beg for justice or plead for it or die for it. Every person in the criminal justice system, from judges to lawyers, should be appalled at the state of affairs we find ourselves in and the length of time we have been fighting for this battle. This should have been taken care of long ago, but it falls on us to fix our future. The time is right to always do what's right. You must refuse to be an accomplice to a broken system. History will judge you, and history will judge all of us. The question is what side do you stand on? Because our community is hurting, people are dying, and we need a defender of the people. These are the same people who elected you to do the right thing. During a political cycle, reflection or controversy, it appears the community's input does not matter. Once again, it is felt that political calculations are being made at the expense of innocent lives in our community. At the end of the day, a man lost his life. And how are these elected officials protecting innocent people? How are these elected officials holding to account the system? There is no accountability here, and there is no justice here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. We will now call forward Kelly with Twin Cities Coalition Justice for Jamar. Thank you.
My name is Kelly. I'm with Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. On February 2nd, 2022, Amir Locke was murdered while police were executing a no-knock warrant at the wrong address. Amir was not named on the warrant but had a legal firearm in his possession while he slept on a couch. Officer Mark Hanneman shot and killed Amir just seconds after entering the apartment. For those of us who have been fighting against police violence in our communities for years, it was clear that what happened to Amir was more than just a tragedy, and that the lives of Black people mean nothing to the people that govern our lives. Since Amir was murdered, we have demanded that charges be brought against the officer that shot him, as well as an actual ban on no-knock warrants instead of the usual empty promises from Mayor Frey. But instead of getting justice for Amir and reining in the unchecked power of MPD, we have been failed by the state yet again. Today, State Attorney General Keith Ellison and Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman declined to levy charges against Amir's killer because they feel that the officers were justified in the murder of a 22-year-old Black man who wasn't even the target of the warrant. To be clear, they believe that Amir deserved to die for holding his legal firearm while strangers invaded the apartment he was sleeping in. This is the same judicial system that punishes protesters more harshly for tagging or walking on highways that we pay the taxes for than they punish their own cops for murder. This is the same judicial system that denied medical care to 20-year-old Native woman Shakoya Basswood after Officer Dakota Zernicki attempted to kill her in Monoman County just a few weeks ago. This is a clear example of why we need community control of the police. So long as the power to discipline and fire cops is in the hands of the state, they will continue to allow police to murder and abuse members of our community. Even if Amir or Shakoya had committed a crime, they deserved a chance to defend themselves in court instead of being subjected to the brutality of Minnesota police. We demand that Keith Ellison finally do right by the community he supposedly serves. He must reverse his decision, prosecute Mark Hanneman, and investigate all officers involved in the execution of the no-knock warrant. A definitive message needs to be sent to all Minnesota officers that the days of shoot first, ask later are over, and we will not tolerate one more life being stolen. TCC4J continues the fight for real police accountability through an elected Civilian Police Accountability Commission. because we believe that we cannot stop police violence unless we, not government officials, are in charge of the hiring, firing, and discipline of police. Ellison and Freeman have proven today that they do not care about the safety and human rights of Minneapolis residents. We know what our community needs. It's time to take back our power and enact real police accountability. If you have not signed our petition for community control of police or have questions, we have petitioners here that can help. For more updates and information on how you can make CPAC a reality, text TCC for J to 612-453-3152. CPAC is how we fight back.
We will now, you know what? I know what to say. We have elected officials that are in the office right now refusing to pass police accountability bills. As they just let these officers walk free for killing a man sleeping in his home, we are currently, our group, our people are out here fighting for legislation to get passed, and we have people like Warren Limmer who will not give us a hearing in the Senate to address we're not saying because we want police to be held accountable that we are anti-police. We're saying that when people hurt other human beings and do something wrong to other human beings, no matter what your title is, no matter what your position is, you're supposed to be held accountable for hurting another human being with no just cause. That is what we are saying, and that's why we're trying to ask the people in the Capitol and the State Building to please pass legislation that will hold these people accountable for hurting our community before we be back in a situation where our buildings are on fire because we're having an outcry because they won't hold these people accountable. It's a chain reaction. So we will now call forward someone who has been fighting for us in the community, that is fighting for accountability. We will call forward my brother, John Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you, Minnesota State Representative John Thompson. Where do I begin? Oh, I'm not psychic, I'm just black. We'll be here again. We'll be here again before the summer ends. I'm not psychic, I'm just black. Because of laws and statutes that are put on the books to defend this type of action. You see, they can go into the book and say, well, we can get this officer off on this. But you could also go in the books and say, I can charge this officer with this, something that you failed to do time and time again. You see, we can come up and change laws on how we can stop our young men from carjacking each other. We can pass a law, so we're going to get them a lot more time, but we can't pass laws to hold officers accountable for when they break the law. As a chef, and I'm not a chef, by the way, but as a chef, I can't feed you seafood and you're allergic to seafood and you lose your life because I'm going to jail. As an airline pilot, I can't crash land the airplane and somebody die because I'm going to jail. When y'all gonna hold police accountable for when they crash land, when they botch no-knock warrants, right? When they choking black people? How about passing the anti-kill black people law right here in this state? How about we do that? Because it seems like it's just us asking for just us every year, just us. Black people losing their lives at the hands of police officers here in this state. And don't call me anti-police, don't call me in battle because I'm nothing but a black man with a black plan. And I tell y'all what to do. Because we can't beat the law, let's change the law. Let's put our names on these books and challenge these lawmakers in these seats. Remember who disappointed you today. Indeed. Because they'll be knocking on your door tomorrow, asking for you to vote for them this November. Remember these people. Stop voting for these people time and time and time again, or you're comfortable with what you're getting. When you get somebody who is fighting for you, stick with them. You know doggone well who stood in front of the camera today and said that black people, it's okay for police officers to kill you. You know who stood in front of that camera, so you know who not to vote for. That way. It's a no-brainer for me. We can't beat the law, so we might as well change the law ourselves. We can't beat it. Listen, I remember, and I'll shut up, I remember when in the NBA was Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Larry Bird, and all of a sudden Julius Erving came, Michael Jordan came. I remember when golf was just as white as we see outside today, and all of a sudden Tiger Woods came. And so it's inevitable that we change these seats to the black house because black people are sick and tired of house fouls and statutes that harm our community. Well-intended legislation. Well-intended legislation. And I'll say this and pardon my brass delivery, but you'll get more time for killing a dog than you will get for killing a black man here in this state. You'll get more time for kicking a dog. You get more time for kicking a dog than you will for killing a black man in this state. It is okay in open season on black people. Am I crazy? Or did you not hear the man say it's time to go hunting? Post George Floyd, did y'all not hear the same man? The same man who's in this doggone police report that killed Amir Locke, the same man. It's part of the team of people said it's time to go hunting. Who's he hunting for? Who's he hunting for? Another eye to shoot out? Minnesota, we have a police problem. And until you admit that we have a police problem, we're going to keep on having a police problem. You think these people want to be out here in the rain, snow? I've been doing this with y'all since 2016. I didn't even know your name. I know you on a first name basis. I know some of you reporters on a first name basis. Some of y'all are responsible for the people hating me, but I'm all right. I can take that hit for the community. Y'all tired of me? Stop killing my brothers and sisters.
That way.
Y'all tired of me? Stop acting like we're comfortable receiving bullshit. Because we're not. We're not. We're not comfortable. Watching this man, you cannot sit up here and tell me that it's okay to accidentally kill a black man? Accidentally. So let's see, we can't drive while black, we can't swim while black, we can't walk while black, we can't even fucking sleep while black. We can't think while black. What can we do? I got a challenge for the state of Minnesota. Just let us be black, right here. Let us live our lives, right here. Let us raise our kids, right here, just like you enjoy raising yours. I'll say this and then I'll end. Until y'all cut it out, we won't cut it out. And so y'all can keep on calling me whatever you want to call me. But don't forget to call me representative at the beginning of your sentence. Thank you, and I love you.
That's right, my brother. We will have one more speaker come up. And this is a man who has been out here fighting for families, such as mine, such as Deonte Rice, such as Amir Locke. It is hurtful to continue to come out here as I lost my loved one. But I know if I don't stand up, that this will just, they'll just go home to what they call home. Like John said, it's hard being out here in the cold. It's hard being out here knowing that you lost your loved one and there was no justice. There's been over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement, and this from the year 2000. And yet, we only get little to no accountability. The only time they hold somebody accountable is when they don't have a choice, because they're pressured. With George Floyd killers, they were pressured to do the right thing. With Kim Potter, they were pressured to do the right thing. But our families, imagine what our families are going through. Imagine what our families feel watching the TV, watching this officer go free today after we know that they've gone free in all of our cases as well. I have to go home and look at my son in the face and know that they killed my son's father and that the officers walked free. And they got people behind the scenes that are behind all of these cover-ups. We got the head of the BCA that's behind all these cover-ups. We got police officers in multiple murders that are being, they get elevated to the next level. They become commanders and lieutenants and all kinds of stuff after killing. They get rewards for killing black men in this state. So I will now call forward our last speaker for today. It's my brother, Trayvon Cruz. And he is the uncle of Hardell Sherrill, who was medically neglected in this state and left to die on the floor. And he's been out here fighting for families. We will call for Trayvon Cruz, founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota. Thank you.
I want to send out love and power and strength to the family of Amir Locke. I grew up listening to Andre Locke, or what we would call Little Buddy, and he's a pillar in this community, and for his son to be executed by the Minneapolis Police Department is a travesty and a mischaracter of justice. Our children get put in jail for far less. They get charged with things like, stealing cars are bad. Shoplifting is bad, but our children get arrested for shoplifting. Our children get arrested for petty amounts of marijuana in nonviolent offenses when we have police that are able to go into somebody's house with the key, mind you, open their door and shoot someone, kill someone, execute someone while they're sleeping. Philando Castile had a right to carry. Amir Locke had his right. We have a right to bear arms, but when black people don't have the right to bear arms in America. Black people don't have the right to breathe in America. Black people don't have the right to drive in America, to go to school in America, to read in America. So we want our rights, we want our constitutional rights, and we want what America owes us, which is reparations and police accountability. We want more than equal protection under the law. We need a protection status for black people because the police keep killing us. We also want an independent investigation into any police-related shooting that has resulted in death in the last 30 years in Minnesota, and that needs to be handled by an agency outside of Minnesota. So again, we'd like to thank you all for coming out today and standing in solidarity with the family of Amir Locke and all stolen lives. We still have a lot of lives to fight for. We have to fight for Justin Teigen, Marcus Golden, Cordell Handy, Hardell Sherrill. Joffrey Smith was shot 55 times by the police under his foot while he was laying on the ground and no one's been accountable for it. He was laying down and got shot. Amir Locke was laying down and got executed. So we're under attack by the police in Minnesota, and we need, even if the United Nations came to Canada, we might need the United Nations to come to Minnesota and get boots on the ground until we get justice. No justice,
no peace.
No justice,
No peace.
no racists,
Police.
no good cops in a racist system.
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 I'm gonna let Tashir Galloway bring us back out and take us out with the Asada chat.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Thank you, everybody. We will be back, everyone, on Friday, this upcoming Friday, to hold another action on behalf of Amir Locke, and also to hold these guys accountable here at the Government Center for shutting the building down so that we could not hold our press conference inside, but instead they let Mike Freeman and Attorney General hold their press conference. We're not a terrorist group. We are families, and we are the community standing up for human life, and we will not continue to let them frame our movement and put this bad look on us. We're good people fighting for good people that didn't deserve to die like that. So we will be back here on Friday. Justice for Amir Locke and all stolen lives. If Amir don't get it,
shut it down.
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 say his name.
Amir Locke.
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 Scream 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 his name.
Amir Locke.
Say his name.
Amir Locke.
Say his name.
Amir Locke.
Thank you all for being here continue on with our march for today. Thank you all. Thank you.
What time on Friday, Tashira?
What's the time? Tashira, what time on Friday?
What time are you thinking on Friday?
Trayvon, what time are you thinking on Friday?
About 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.